My friend Anne-Catherine and I have been talking about starting a channel together, a fragrance-related channel, but it wasn't until Robes08 launched his contest encouraging new female vloggers to start a channel that we finally stopped postponing and started recording. So the judges that'll be judging the contest will be posting videos giving examples of what they'd like to see from us, and Robes08 did that already with a video about his fragrance journey. So we thought that would be a good start, and here it is, my fragrance journey. That journey of mine dates back about 24 years, back to when I was 12 years old, and that was the time just after my parents got a divorce. And I remember my mom, she was trying to spoil me within her means, and she did that by getting me a subscription of a fragrance magazine that came with little miniature bottles like these that I still have a bunch of. And these two are two of my favorites. This bottle was just to die for, and this smell was something I really loved. So I started collecting those, and the magazines were full of articles and about the history and art of perfumery, and I just loved it. So I started with miniature perfumes, and I ended up getting one of those trays where you can put miniature toys in, like a display case to hang on the wall. And I put all my little miniature fragrances in those, and that was in my teenage bedroom until I moved out when I went to uni. Another mile point of my fragrance journey was when I was about 14 and we moved back from South Africa to Belgium, back to Belgium. And for a while I lived with my grandparents. And the two fragrances that I remember most from that period of that time, when I was about 14, was Tommy and Tommy Girl. I loved those. I wore them all the time, both of them. Also interchangeably with the black CK1, which I now only have a mini of and not the black one. But yeah, so those started me off. And then a big one was Acqua Di Giò. When I was 16, I wore this a lot. And it really actually reminds me of my first love, my first boyfriend, who lived in South Annecy in the UK. So I traveled over there to see him, and this just this reminds me of the ocean, the seaside, and yeah, young love, sloppy kisses, and it's I still love it. So after I got into Acqua Di Giò and Pleasures, which I also only have a little bowl of little miniature of, and this I wore throughout my early 20s, and also La Belle de Nina Ricci, which I don't have anymore. That bottle was gorgeous. I don't know why I got rid of that. But that started off my collection very slowly because I was a student, and yeah, in my early 20s, I actually was quite into the Hugo Boss scents. Hugo Deep Red, and this one, the Hugo Women, I think it's called. It's just, yeah, the Eau de Parfum. This one, I think I went through a couple of bottles of those. And this one. I don't want to get it out of its case now because it was discontinued for a while, so I got two backup bottles. I think they relaunched it, but so this one, yeah, this one I got when I was studying in Stellenbosch, or I was doing research for a thesis there, and I got into the habit at that point of buying a new fragrance every time I went abroad. So when I was there, second week I think, I went to the perfume store and I sampled a couple of my favorites. Took him back to the international hostel thing I was staying at, asked my male friends what they liked the most, and then they voted unanimously for that one, so I got that one. I was very much influenced by what boys liked at that time. Actually, I am thinking of doing a video about the psychology of scent. So I'm a psychotherapist, I have my own little practice, and it's really fascinating to me how the sense of smell, what it does to us emotionally, and the way our sense of smell is connected to our brain directly, and just the whole physiological aspect of the sense of smell is quite amazing, and explains a lot about why our memories are so strongly associated with them. So if that's a topic that would interest you, let me know. Put some comments down below. I forgot to mention these. This one, an empty bottle of Dune by Christian Dior. This I still love. This is also part of my fragrance memory journey, but not because I wore it per se, but because it was my mom's signature scent. And so it really reminds me of her. And I actually really like it. Even though I didn't before, because it smelled too much like mom, but now. One thing that goes back even further was when I was about 10 or 11 years old, and I was sitting in a classroom with 40 kids, and the teacher asked what that weird, horrible smell was, and she asked us if any of us had a very sensitive sense of smell, and we could find out where it came from. So I put up my finger and I can smell like a hound dog. So, and then I sniffed out where the scent came from, and it was a tuna sandwich. But ever since that moment, I kind of put it into my head that I had a very sharp sense of smell, which was maybe imagined, but the contrast was mainly with my grandfather, who was completely anosmic. He couldn't smell a thing, which could be dangerous when my grandma left the gas stove on, but that's another story. But for him it was a huge advantage generally, because he kept his own animals and rabbits and pigeons and geese and grew vegetables, so he had to clean out a lot of dung, and so for him it wasn't a bad thing. But for me that was horrendous, the thought of not being able to smell anything. So that's probably why I appreciated my sense of smell so much more, because he couldn't smell. And yeah. Now, after the Label de Nina Ricci and Acqua Di Giò came this one. This one is also quite an important one. It is called Fast Forward, from the Givenchy Oblique line, Eau de Toilette. And this was just so sexy. I wore this clubbing or when I went out between the ages of 16 and 19 all the time, and I got crazy compliments every time I wore this. And I felt like the shit when I wore this. I felt like I could conquer the world. The most recent resurgence into my whole fragrance enthusiasm was about 4 years ago, when I could finally afford not to be too stingy when it came to luxury items. So I started buying perfume again on a less of a need basis and more of a want basis. And I remember the snowball started rolling with Viva la Juicy Gold Couture by Juicy Couture, which now I still like it, but I don't wear it anymore. But it was by watching Jeremy Fragrance at the time that and he was hyping it so much that I thought, okay, let's see what all the fuss is about, and I got that, and then I just kept on collecting, and eventually I rolled into niche, and now I mainly go for niche, even though I still love finding designer gems, but my biggest loves are definitely niche right now. But I'll talk about those later. So this is just actually to get to know me and why I'm so crazy about perfume, how long I've been into it, why, and what my old sentimental fragrances are. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, you would really do us a favor if you like this video to just comment and like and ring the bell and all that jazz. So see you soon. Allô? Allô? Bonjour, c'est qui à l'appareil?
E.T. téléphone à la maison. Alors, E.T. téléphone à la maison. Bonjour, comment ça va?